And all the new cable tray cut. From this spot to this spot. Made light work of the hose that wouldn't come out. What was that? How horrible is that? Guys at the Viking factory. What happened there? I think I remember where everything goes. My God, is that stuff tough. But here's the dilemma. Last night, went out, came back here, trying to rush to get caught up, decide I'm gonna do my top coat because I had everything sanded, ready. I get the paint mixed up, just not thinking right because I'm trying to get it done late at night. Put the gun all back together, one thing after another. Forgot part of the paint gun at the shop, had to come back, then get the paint gun put back together. I'm just using the cheap, crappy $100 paint guns. And the O-ring inside the paint gun starts to fail and fall apart halfway through painting. It was tragic. Wasn't sure what to do at the time, so I'm like, I'm just gonna try to continue. It started just spitting out paint randomly. At that point, it was kind of game over. So I'm gonna show you the unfortunate event that happened, which sucks right now. Look at them runs. So this whole top area, I decide, yeah, I'm just gonna try to do another quick coat over it, and that's when it all just went horrible. The gun started spitting. Because it was already one coat, everything was shiny and white, so it was very hard to tell how much was put on. Almost this whole back wall. Not sure how well the camera will pick this up. So I got there, and a couple right here. Other than that, where I didn't try to use up some of the paint that was in the hopper, and so all the floor and areas like this came out just perfect. And my plan for the weekend, I really wanted to get this generator moved over, and I figured for sure I'll be able to have that stringer. That stringer will be done today, so all the glass work will be done over there. Then I can start cutting this up and seeing what I got going on here. The major unfortunate dilemma. The one plus side today though is I do have a helper that's helping out doing some sanding and grinding and some of the stuff that just simply sucks to do day in and day out. With that being said, I'm out here getting all the new cable tray cut. So this is the 8" by 4" tray that was in there. And for the life of me, I could not find 8" wide. Thankfully though, with all the old electronics that is coming out of the boat and things that just use 30 wires compared to one NEM network cable, I don't need that big of a cable tray. At least I'm hoping, let's put it that way. So I'm going back in with 6" by 4". So 2" narrow. Here's all my pieces. Here's all the old stuff. And here's a good reason why I'm replacing it. As soon as you go to try to clip any of the pieces in, they just break off like that. And they just look like crap. They have overspray all over them. Chopping up some cable tray, getting things marked, measured, and laid out. So this way, once I can get that wall fixed from all the runs, we can get that put together. Just like this. I feel like I'm an electrician apprentice again or something like that. All the cable tray or cable duck is cut. It was kind of nice because I kept all my old pieces and labeled them, so as you see, pretty straightforward when you don't have to really think about much, just gotta copy and repeat. Except for some funny things where something like this, somebody really pieced some things together last time with a whole bunch of things like this, and they kind of did one of those and or something like that to make that work. So I just made one full new piece. I'm sure in the factory when they were cutting things out, they were just like, ah crap, we're a little short on the cut. And took some scraps and made it work. I made it a little prettier by just doing a full piece. A couple more to cut up, and that's it for what I have kind of demoed and ready to be replaced. Finally got all of the fiberglass for the stringers done in the midsection of the boat. Check this out. My helper Cody here, he's just Like I've always explained, it's so important to go around and use the bubble buster at the end. And look at how good that fiberglass is looking. There's no bubbles in there. She's looking really good. Saturated through nicely. Got our layers on the floor, the sides, the top. And that means we are finished with the stringers in here. Some sanding and hopefully we'll get to this once I'm able to get that generator moved. Another day building this 58 Viking. Glass work is done on the stringers. Just a bunch of sanding to do. But what I'm excited for today is this. Getting my old generator from this spot to this spot. And getting some of this stuff put back up. This eventually will come back down, get cleaned up, most likely sandblasted and powder coated like everything because it's so durable and the finish comes out great. But for now, we're gonna just get it hung up, mainly because of time crunch and wanting to get working on still fiberglassing. Got some pieces of wood here, got some aluminum piping, and we have a big gap. I'm gonna be like the ancient Egypts and try to move a 1,000-pound generator with no big machinery, which I think shouldn't be a problem. We're gonna create a bridge with some pieces of wood. I'm actually gonna screw it to the old bedding of the generator because that's all getting cut out anyways. And we're gonna slide these under there. And I'm hoping to just kind of roll it right on over. Like I showed you yesterday, there is runs everywhere in the paint. We sanded that all out, and last night I did give it a quick thin coat of paint, and it came out way better. So the only spot that I actually left the paint runs, which I'll show you, is right here, where I put it on pretty heavy too, and I don't care as much as it hurts me to say, because it's all getting covered. That goes up there, and that whole line of runs that we actually purposely left because it was kind of one of those things where why bother spending the time and energy sanding it all out when it gets covered by the cable tray. So we did this whole wall, cleaned it all up, any runs, repainted it. Let me tell you, I am not a painter, but when the paint gun works, man, does it go a lot smoother. It was painful when that paint gun started to not work and I was in the middle of dealing with this at 10 o'clock at night. But yesterday, everything went smooth. Gun worked perfectly, got it cleaned out perfectly, so it's ready to go for the next time. Very happy with that. Let's get building. Time to make a bridge in a boat. A little long on that one. Good thing I got some sanders. This is pretty much what I got going on. Something simple, crude, easy to slap together, and should work just fine. Roll this sucker over. Just a little off the top. Let's see. Oh yeah. Beauty. That's pretty much how she's looking. Right, Cody? Gonna have it braced up here. Same with both sides. Probably put a couple triangulated braces in there to stop it from teetering at all, but should work just fine.
She wears a fade of blue jeans.
Almost ready to get moving this thing, which I actually made sure it'll start to roll, and that's what I got going on. Here's the frame all set up. It's lagged or screwed to here. which helps there. And then I got a foot there. Should probably put one more there. I think I'll be all right. By the time half of it is over, it's already going to be on this platform. So the only thing that is going to suck about this is I'm in the water. So when you start rolling 1,000 pounds from port to starboard, you certainly notice it in the boat sitting flat. So I might have to start pumping some water up. Got a couple of the aluminum poles or aluminum tubing in there. Gonna start giving it a push and see what happens, see if it starts rolling. Might be a little bit of a struggle, but we'll see what happens, guys. Oh, still got one water line. Made light work of the hose that wouldn't come out. Simple as that. All right. Oh. Oh. Looks like it started rolling. There's gonna be so much room for activities over here. It's gonna be a slow process, slow roll. I only brought 4 of these. Now I wish I would have brought a couple more. Leave that crowbar up there, add a little extra weight. For the fun of getting a workout. All right, a little bit more push. How are we looking over there, guys? Oh, she's moving very easily now. Woo! Well, the ancient Egypts had something going, because it is now working perfect. Completely off. Now that I'm not dragging it, which I was at the beginning, just being by myself here trying to manhandle it, now it's working pretty good. Might actually have to get ready to move my foam mats protecting the paint. Oh, guys, you didn't even tell me I caught on my extension cord. Let's see if I can just. Oh yeah. Oh, taking the cover with it though. So I am going to leave it kind of broad out so I can get work on the wiring and everything in the back, and then later we'll snug her back in there. Just trying to protect all that pretty paint. Wonder if I can get one of the poles out now. Try to go a little more here. Once it's on here, it's gonna slide nice and easy. Oh, butter smooth now. All right, guys, I think one more push and we'll have it almost all the way over. Well, lost the pole at the end here. No one. Well, that is now on the port side. Well, just like that, it's on the port side, I guess. I think I'm gonna leave it right there for now. And look at the mess that it made. A lot of this piece of plywood is rotted that this generator sits on. I'm going to, later in life here, I'm going to build a scaffolding or build a system to lift this up, try to change this all out. But That is not a this year project. What is this year is get this all cut out, and anything that shows moisture or is soft, it's going. Well, just finished getting that generator moved over, and now we are very port heavy. Big way to tell is every time I try to open my door, the door just kind of, oh, now it's not too bad, but just wants to fly open. And it takes quite a bit to close it. It's got a nice little gauge to tell you how level you are with the sliding door. I got this 55 barrel of water, and then I have one on the back swim platform. Just went and picked up the pump, and time to get rid of some weight. Ooh. So I have that drum of water, and then the one inside that was just used for ballast to help keep the boat level. So I'm gonna drain this one completely, and then the one on the back deck, I would like to keep some weight in it so it doesn't blow away. We'll see how much weight I gotta take for us to start to sit level again. This is what I did when I moved my port engine to the starboard. Holy crap, was that ever a battle. Trying to move that engine, which is 5,000 pounds with the transmission. That one was actually like 55. Moving it over every couple inches, the whole boat wanted to do this. And when you're doing it on a rail system, did it ever want to take off? So as I would move the engines like 3 inches, come out here, fill up more water or drain water, fix the ballast to try to keep the boat level, move the engine another 3 to 6 inches, come up here, fill up more water. That's what I was slowly doing, which you'll see when I put the engines back in. I'm gonna do the same thing. Didn't bring you guys along for the journey, but I got the, very weird saying starboard or port while looking at the back of the boat here, but got the starboard of the generator floor or bedding cut out. Doing some cleaning. I'm gonna kill the vacuum here for a sec so you guys can hear me. Getting this area cleaned up here after cutting this out, and way back here found another sweet surprise. A sealed water bottle that somehow now looks like this, and I did find the date. See if you guys can see that. 2012. I don't think water expires, right? Might stick this in the fridge for later. Get thirsty. Let's just put that down. We'll get this cleaned up here and see what we got to do. Like I've explained a couple times now, if it has a wood core in it and it's in the engine room, I'm getting rid of it. Kusa everything. Don't ever have to worry about anything in the engine room ever again. So haven't even checked moisture, especially in this one because it's buried, but look at how small that one is. Like, after doing all this, why not cut that one out too, especially with that whole huge 3-inch stringer here. And we're gonna do the same with this one if it's needed. Well, not even. We're gonna do it anyways. Cut this one out, cut that one out. And then the flooring. So this is what the floor of the generator bed sits on. Still solid, but like you could literally see some mold growing, moisture. That's where that tiny little 3-inch stringer sits. And these holes I drilled in there when I had a big hole saw, just to see what it was and see how rotted it was. And as you guys see, this entire area, that's the only weep hole. So when the boat is sitting flat with the engines in it, this can hold water right here, which I found out from the other side, and it doesn't go back. And with the engines further forward, it just makes it worse. So what I did on that side is I actually added a small weep hole here, which will be the same thing that's going to get done on this side. So eliminate those issues. A brand new generator bed, so everything is solid, and just like I did with that side, as you see with this, it's just bare plywood underneath. I'm going to fully wrap it in fiberglass, so not to worry about any of it. I remember doing the other side, and it was scary getting into this. Now I'm on this side, and it seems like light work. We cut this floor out in 3 minutes. It's kind of why I didn't bring you guys along, because before I knew it, it was already cut out, ready to go, just because I knew what was needing to be done and where to cut. Still sounds solid. When I did the moisture meter test on that one, it came back pretty darn good. Do it, be done, never think about it again. Whole entire engine room, hardest part to get to, fully built out of Coosa, double strengthened fiberglass. Right, guys? Good morning, guys. It is bright and early on my last day off before I go back to work for the long weekend. And last night, late before I went home, I really wanted to cut out this little dinky stringer, whatever you would call that guy. Some would say average size, but it's about 3 inches. Not a whole lot there for a stringer, but obviously it was there from factory, so 3 inches better than no inches, I guess, right? It is what it is, but she was rotted. It's got to come out. My plan is I'm going to get this one cored and probably glued in today, and once at least the coring is in place, I'm going to start cutting this one out. Just try to get ahead with the project. And I really don't think that one being cut out and at least cored back in without fully glassed in has a ton of negativity for like the structure with me cutting things out. I'm trying not to cut out a ton of components at once to leave the bulk of the structure there, so I'm not jeopardizing the shape of the hull or anything like that. Cutting out one stringer, replace one stringer. Cut out the next stringer, replace it. Not cut out everything and the boat gets deformed or something crazy like that. So I'll show you what I got going outside. I'll show you. Generator bedding cut out, brought outside. Gonna go grab my truck, load it up, bring it to the shop so I can start copying it. But look at this. How horrible is that? This is by far the worst that I have seen. And I can tell because where that little area is captured and this stringer was not sealed whatsoever. There was voids and holes in the glass everywhere. I'm not sure how well this camera picks it up, but the voids in this glass work was just horrible. This must have been a Friday job at the factory and somebody wanted to get out of there. Like, look at that. Where the weep hole was, I could tell that's where the water was coming in at. I didn't cut that. That's just the end of the fiberglass and then just next to nothing. Like, look at that. And that was right where the weep hole is. Right where the water is directed is right where there's just no glass. So that's awesome. When I put the moisture meter to this thing, it just pegged for obvious reasons. Like, nothing even left of that. By far the worst spot that I've cut into. Time to make it right. To offset the weight of that generator, this is what I got going on. So this 55-gallon barrel, it was sitting right there. You can actually kind of see the mark. And now that the generator is on my port side, my boat is very port heavy. Drain the one inside, and I'm gonna move this one over here and fill it back up. I'm gonna see how that works out with just the one on this side filled back up. If I have to move the other one and reorganize the inside, I will. But that's a quick update for now. I'm gonna run back to the shop, grab my truck, and start making up that stringer to get that put in place today. Finally getting to the point where I am done coring stringers, but I found something interesting that I wanted to show you. And also to mention that I've been working like crazy at my actual job, which means getting this stuff done has been after hours that haven't been picking up the camera, and I've just been doing the same process of cut, grind, repeat. So I haven't filmed it to bore you guys, but I did find something exciting last night that I want to show you, and a good example of what not to do. As you can see, I actually have those two stringers completely done and fiberglassed. I haven't sanded or got rid of the overhang yet. None of the cleanup has been done. But yesterday I gutted this stringer, which, man, that was a pain. That one took a whole lot because the wood in here was still very solid. It did show signs of moisture, but still freaking rock solid, trying to hammer and chisel and cut it all out. But this is what's interesting. See this backside, guys? See this? And look at that, gel coat on this side. Yep, that certainly was just like that. Something like that. So you know what that means? So that means in the factory, almost 30 years ago, somebody decided to add more fiberglass to this one part of the stringer. And this was obviously cured and like with wax or something like that. Fiberglass, added more on top, and as you can see, absolutely no structural bond. I literally was able to, wherever this was, peel this right back off like that. I can't say exactly what happened, but here's my theory. As you see on this side that I redid, where the generator sits, there's actually a bump up here. You can see same height, and then a bump up for where the generator sits. So I think when they built this, they probably glassed all of this in place, at least 1 or 2 layers, and then they were like, oh crap, the plans called for an extra 3 inches on top of the stringer. So what they did was add that 3-inch chunk to get it level with this for the platform. And they were like, yep, let's just slap some more glass on there. And they told Fred or Billy there in the 90s to go add some glass. And no prep work was ever done. Did it hold for the last 30 years? Yeah, it did. Is it the correct way? Absolutely not. As you see, there was literally no structural bond there whatsoever. It was just kind of there. I was able to just peel it back. And that's how you get major delamination and things like that. I've seen a couple spots where scenarios like this has happened, where somebody put gel coat over top of cured fiberglass. I've actually seen it down in here. Again, it is a production built boat. You do run into these kind of things, and things like this do happen, especially if you have different shifts, somebody calls in sick, things like that. These are the scenarios that happen. Interesting to find, and at least I get to fix it and make it way stronger than ever. As you guys know, recoring the one side, and if the skin is still good and it has good thickness, rebonding it and then wrapping the entire thing in 5 layers of fiberglass. This entire engine room that's now made out of Kusa and 5 extra layers of 1708 is going to be the strongest, most rot resistant Viking I think out there. That's going to be kind of cool. Things are moving along though, but I'm going to catch you guys back when something more exciting is happening that isn't just cut, copy, repeat. I'll catch you guys then. I just dragged out the piece of the stringer that I'm going to bring to the shop to use as a template, and then I realized something else I can show you. You can see those cracks? Exactly what I was talking about. Look at that. Nothing bonded there. And you can kind of see where it ripped and has been pulling apart or delaminating. It's right at where that seam is. And I know you guys can't tell, but I can tell that there's a layer of fiberglass that starts right, oh no, I guess you guys could see that. Layer of fiberglass that looks like it starts right around here. And that's pretty much right where that is. I think my theory is correct, that they forgot or wanted to add that little bit, added some extra glass here, but it actually never had any sort of bond. And that's exactly what it looks like when it happens. Still shiny. Guys at the Viking factory, what happened there? Just a little bit of sanding next time, but held up for the most part, so I'm not complaining. Just showing people the issues that can happen. Heading over to the boat, just got done my day job and time to start the night shift. But oh yeah, can we just appreciate that? I don't know if I've showed you guys the outside of how ridiculously funny this looks. Man, you got my scooter, the diesel heaters, and look at that door. Fabulous. I know it looks ridiculous, guys, but being able to walk up and do that has been a lifesaver. And, you know, I'm in Canada in a t-shirt, but tomorrow I'll need the diesel heater. The next day after that, I'll have to have the AC going. Some of the situations I run into, but I'm going to show you a quick little update here. Let's go down into the engine room. Let's show you the mess that I got. Here's what is exciting. I didn't show you guys this because it's just repeated over and over again. I am on the last stringer. I have a giant milk crate full of fiberglass, which I guess doesn't look like it, but yeah. All of the different pieces cut, labeled, ready to go to get this last stringer that is already 2 pieces of Kusa laminated together with fiberglass in between. Already have a base layer of glass on this side, and it is all glued in place with the existing glass that was left here. Which I did show you the issue that I had where there was delamination from this top corner. I since then peeled that all out, ground it all down, got it ready to go. Looking good. So this is where she sits. All the thickened resin in there, nice smooth contour. I know some of it looks goofy, especially now that I'm looking through it at the camera, but it is smooth finish. If you have sensitive skin, don't do anything that I just did, like touching fiberglass or rubbing it on your hand. Don't do that. Thankfully, I don't have very sensitive skin, and none of this stuff like bothers me almost at all, surprisingly. I have had friends in here that complained about it for weeks. So be cautious if you have sensitive skin, or just be cautious in general. But my slightly average stringer, done. The big boy, done. And the biggest, almost done. Will be done today, thank God. After this, I got the generator floor, and then starting with this bulkhead. The reason I never did this bulkhead was because I wanted all the glass work in these corners to overlap and work together, and to be able to do this all in one run. It's kind of kicking me in the butt now, but once this is done, this will be glassed, and all I will have left for fiberglass work is this top corner. I have these guys made. So what's happening here is this is a 1-inch steel plate, powder coated, with a little piece kind of stuck on there so I can hold it. 4 holes drilled out, because the I-beams that are going to go across are going to get bolted to this. And since I have no more access between my water tank and the bulkhead, I have the 1 1/4, so I can fit those. Hope you get where I'm coming from. We're going to be drilling holes and 5200 that on the back side of it, so I can screw my I-beam to that and never have to see behind it again. It's going to get fiberglassed over. And pretty much you, I, and a couple other people will know that those are back there to never be seen again. The original factory just had nuts and bolts back there, so that's got to go right down in there. Enough being said, though, I'm going to quickly get this glasswork done. I'm not going to film it just because you've seen it so many times, but I am going to get this done, and I'll catch you up in a little bit. The day has finally came where I get to set up the other generator bed. This one is pretty much done. I got a little bit more sanding to do, but all these are done. So that means time to lift the ceiling off and go grab the piece. Let's take a look. I got my buddy Jim here to give me a hand, because not something you can do by yourself. Look at that house door. I wish I would have done that from the beginning. And sitting in the back of the truck is this sucker. So we're gonna set you guys up and manhandle this into there. We're gonna go up in the salon and open up my ceiling floor, since in here it's the ceiling, up there in the salon it's the floor. You can watch the piece just fall into place. Yeah, I wish. Tilt it all the way. Yep. And now you kind of have these handles, right? So then, right there. Yep. Hi guys! I don't know if you can see me.
Didn't think that hole was that big. I forgot how big it was.
Yeah. Pretty wild, eh?
It's in the pool. You can grab this hole. Yeah, there you go. I got it.
Even if you just move it. It was way easier the second time around. Let's lay it in here and see what it looks like. I getting hot too. A little bit of trimming needed. Got to grind the corner down because it is a rounded corner, and currently this top piece is just cut on a square. But for all you guys that have been watching, you know how much I love the heaters. It's been wild. I currently have a stand-up AC unit trying to cool things off because it's so hot in here now, and yet still a diesel heater setup. And this, in the morning you need the heat, in the afternoon you need the AC. Wild. But I'm gonna get back to work. It's finally Friday, and I get a whole weekend to start busting butt. This weekend, I'm gonna get to work and try to bring you along as much as I can, but more and more sanding. But this is exciting. The generator bed is in place. I just mixed up a batch of thickened resin and kind of got it tabbed in, if you would call it, just where the gaps are small enough. And that's all the thickened resin that I had already mixed up here on the boat. I gotta go to the shop, mix up some more, and fill in some of the bigger gaps. Stuff like this here, which isn't crazy, but can, well, not even fit my pinky through it. Do have a bigger gap here, just the way things unfortunately worked out, trying to tweak this to be in here with 3 sides, not even close to being square, and just slowly tracing, marking, sanding, but unfortunately this happened. So I got some of my Kusa pieces. We're gonna find one that fits nice, and I'm just gonna place it down in there, just to fill the void for fiberglassing. Under here, it's all filled in. Let's see if you guys get some light on the scenario. All filled in. This way there'll be no air pockets, so I can do exactly what I did here, which is just 2 layers of 1708, one bigger, one smaller, and then tabbed in and wrapped around. I am almost done fiberglassing. I got the top of this bulkhead to do, the top of that, this front shelf on top of this bulkhead to that bulkhead, which that might be a big piece, but that's a big easy piece. Just a big straight flat square, easy to work. It can sit there, be rolling. It's gonna be great. This is all sanded to a pretty decent finish, as you can see. I even filled in this void here. This used to have a little bit of a divot here because the old bulkhead that was here, and this right here, it still has a ton of thickness from the tabbing of the old bulkhead. So I just built it up to the same thickness. That spot there is well over 1 inch thick of solid fiberglass now. But I do plan on this winter moving my freshwater pickup to over here because it makes way more sense with the cat engines. So that's where they will be going, is in this location. So I wanted it just to be solid fiberglass, no coring, nothing. So whatever I decide to do with these, I have a good base to work off of. But yeah, gonna clean some things up, get rid of some of my DeWalt sponsorship over here. Unfortunately, not sponsored. Try to get all the dust out, and then I'm gonna wipe down all the areas that myself and whoever's in this engine room is gonna see. So when you walk down into this engine room, you're gonna see a lot of these 2 stringers. Those areas, and like this flat shelf, I'm gonna mix up some fairing compound. I'm gonna lay it just all over the areas that you're gonna see to do the final sand to start prepping for some paint. Then I have to deal with this wiring. Look at how much fun this is gonna be. I'm gonna start pulling that all off soon. Start zip tying it, organizing. Same thing I did on this side, just 50 times the amount of wire. That exhaust fan hooked up like that, man, is it working good. Every time I mix up some resin, I'll just do it right in this area with that fan on, and 0 fumes in here, which is so nice. All right, well, it's getting late, guys. Just finished eating a slice of pizza and starting to drink my juice box here. Mixed up another liter of some thickened resin. So, ran into the shop, cut some pieces of Kusa, and the plan is, I'm just gonna see what I can do to find some pieces, cut them up, sand them down, and kind of get them to go See, like already that was a little too big. Oh, that one looks pretty good. Get some pieces that will go into these little spots like that. So see, something like that will help fill those voids and just stop some of this from seeping all the way through when I'm trying to make a round corner. So I'll ooze a little bit in there first, then stick these pieces in there, and then go around with either my modified spatula or just the normal spatula here and make a nice even round area all the way. So some spots like this aren't too bad, but it's like this where I can actually fit my whole pinky in there. So currently this is mixed with wax. This way the underside actually can fully cure, because once I smear this in the crack, I can never access the underneath, especially in this now sealed little area, except for the weeping hole that's now in them. So it is with wax, so afterwards, before I glass, I will have to, the areas that have been hit already, like this stuff here, we'll have to go through and sand it all down to adhere to the new glass. So, all right, I'm gonna put some gloves on and get this mixed up and start applying it. I'll show you guys kind of what I do. I got my MEKP pre-measured right here and ready to go. One thing I want to do is add some strands of glass to just make this thickened resin stronger, so more of a structural putty as well. And I'm kind of out of my little tote of it, so all I'm gonna do is take my electric scissors here and snip some up. This is just gonna make this more of an actual fiberglass, like when you're using the cloth and resin, but just in a thicker putty, so it has good strength to it. So, just like that. Get it mixed up. It's kind of a pain to mix it though once you add this, because it does bunch up into a ball. I gotta just try to dab it in and then let the polyester resin break down the fibers, which allows it to actually stir and mix a lot easier. And that gives it a lot more strength too. It allows it to not droop or anything like that when you're actually using it for all those big cracks that I have. So when I'm trying to pack it in there, it's not gonna just droop away as it's starting to cure. So you can kind of see how it's got strands. Oh, little pieces fall. Oh no, see, it's still holding on. So it's got strands, but it doesn't really want to fall apart because all those little strands of glass holding it in. All right, let's get the MEKP put in there, and it's go time. So before I go mix this, I'm going to set you guys up over there. For you guys, you can't tell, but these exhaust fans make my life very easy, but unfortunately, very difficult for you guys to hear what I am saying. I just had to turn the exhaust fan on to try to suck some of these fumes out so I can talk with you, but yet still breathe some fresh air. You can see, just got that thing shut off, and this is mixed up. Look how perfect that's looking. Perfect consistency. So we'll get some kind of packed in there. And then we'll find where that's sat. So right about there. From factory, the factory does this kind of stuff all the time. They just use balsa. So the only real difference is this won't rot. You can kind of see what I got going on. So now you take the spatula and see the pieces I jammed in there, and I can round it. This is what you guys would hear if I started trying to film with the exhaust fan on. Sorry about that, guys. Being by myself and trying to fiberglass never works to get that filmed, so it is what it is. But here's what she's looking like. So boom, all those big gaps like right there filled in, and a perfect radius except for this little corner. I'll have to sand that smoother. And same with right here. She was going sideways on me and things were starting to harden, so I ended up jamming a piece of Kusa that's a bit too long, so tomorrow I'll have to take the multi-tool and trim it down. Got around my corner still, and yes, underneath is fiberglass. So once I wrap this in glass, it will be 100% sealed and solid. So that was brutal. I can't tell you how much I absolutely hate sanding. I don't think there's anybody in this world that's like, ooh, I love sanding, because that's not the case. And if you've seen, currently using 80 grit just on like a 7-inch electric like polisher sander. And this is for sure way too many layers of epoxy paint. I don't know if you can tell, like you can actually see a thickness to it. It's kind of crazy. So that 80 grit wasn't even doing a dent, as you've seen. So I broke out the flap disc. The most aggressive flap disc I think I have. What is that sucker? That's a 40 grit flap disc. And that's what actually got her down pretty decent. So it's Friday, it's already probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm gonna mix up a big batch of fairing putty and go to town. Ready to add the MEKP. All of this has been wiped down very good with acetone. I'm gonna try to do in here, down here, this top deck, and this. All in one shot. Wish me luck. So, you guys are going to be on a bit of a time lapse so I can stick these exhaust fans back on and get to work. Yep, I ran out. I mixed up 2 liters and still didn't have enough. But I got this part done in the back. All of the corners are very, very smooth because they're so thick from trying to make everything round. It's easy to sand it out and make the corners smooth without even any fairing putty. Plus, it's kind of hard to get it nicely in the corners, so. And it doesn't look great, because I am not a professional at this. Of course, all of you guys that have done this before knew that that was going to start hardening on me with mixing that much at a time, so yep, it did. But I got it all on, everywhere that matters. This is a bit of a divot, so I kind of piled her on heavy. This spot is very high, well not very high, but it's a higher spot, and it doesn't need anything. It's already as smooth as could be. We'll come in tomorrow, hopefully get this sanded and get some glass on here. And what was cool is this. already hardened up. Pretty happy with that. That means for sure I can start fiberglassing this tomorrow. Alright, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Officially early the next morning. Just did a classic Princess Auto run. Got some of the consumables. Sanding pads, some gloves, and needed a hole saw. It's one thing that you don't think about when doing some of these projects is just how much some of the consumables, like your sanding pads, gloves, things like that, start to cost. All those little things really do start to add up. Between paint brushes and rollers. Looking good. Alright guys, let me turn some lights on, I'll show you what's happening. Alrighty, let's see. Oh yeah. Got down into the 50s last night, so I did stick the heater on. And yeah. Everything looks pretty darn good. I sure wish would have had a little bit more motivation to mix up some more to just finish that patch there, but just wasn't happening. But I'll probably start the morning off by mixing some more up. I'll sand off those areas where I accidentally dropped some, mix some more up, touch that up, and then start sanding my life away pretty much. And today we're gonna get some glass on here. Gonna go change into my more work clothes, since I'm pretty much always wearing work clothes, but stuff that I can get covered in fiberglass dust. Alright, catch you guys in a bit. Figured I'd show you guys some mistakes so you can try to learn from me and don't make them yourself. So when I mixed this up, I mixed almost 2 liters worth of resin, which I believe is about 2 quarts for the Americans here. Today, it's still a little tacky along the floor because unfortunately, I'm in the water. The water temperature outside is probably not even 50 degrees. So the floor, it's hard to get above 60, 65 even with the heaters on. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more hardener to try to fast track and help with the colder temperatures of the floor. So I did 2 liters yesterday and I went for 1.5 today. And yep, it started hardening halfway through using it. Now I just have more work ahead of me. So got that side done, that looks perfect. Got this back stringer almost done. And that's when panic mode set in. Things started hardening. I just tried slobbering it on everywhere as fast as I could. And it just did not go well. That's what it looks like when it starts to harden partway through using it. And then it no longer smears, it just clumps and bumps. So I was trying to just get from here and here, because I'm not gonna do anything crazy down here because my battery box sits there. And like usual, only myself and pretty much everybody now watching these videos will know that, hey, Brandon never fared in compound and made that all look perfect under there. But it's one of those things where, why do it, right? Why spend the work making that look perfect when you'll never see it ever again? That'd be almost like sanding the bottom of the floors to a perfect finish of this area. So yeah, figured I'd share some what not to do. I would recommend, if you're doing this, always try to figure out roughly how much you think you need for one area. What I really should have done is just did about 3/4 of a liter for this area, and then my 3/4 of a liter for this area. Broke it down to 2 parts, but this stuff kind of sucks to work with because once you mix it into a container, the container almost impossible to get clean, things like that. I could use a mixing board. That might be a better option for next time. So yeah, more sanding for me on this weekend. A little bit of a side quest here, since kind of getting this area going. Currently got the heater, trying to just quickly keep everything warm to let that dry. But picked up a 4-inch hole saw, because I actually didn't own a 4-inch hole saw. And I'm going to cut this out. So cut that hole in the bulkhead and that hole, because pretty soon I want to finish trying to get this all cleaned up and ready to add a couple more layers So this is just the factory fiberglass, and then obviously everything was ground down pretty far with all the gel coat taken off as well. And you can kind of see my cutout from when I record this whole thing to just allow better access for deep into that area. With that being said, I want to clean everything up here, and I'm going to do a couple extra layers of glass on here, and then at the same time these will get sanded down and be rounded and get all that done. That's one of the last bigger complicated projects of glass to still be done, I guess. Kind of keep forgetting about this. Just because I'm tired of sanding, I'm going to drill some holes. Unfortunately, my hole saw doesn't go far enough in, so I'm gonna have to chisel away some of the Kusa material. Next problem is I don't even know if I have a drill bit long enough. There's the actually epoxy and polyester that doesn't cure to each other, but for the people that know, the middle of this, all the Kusa and everything is glued together with epoxy, because I slid the coring down in. Well, I made most of it and then slid it all in with a ton of thickened epoxy. It's actually interesting to see. You can really tell when the cheap hole saw starts to hit it, it slows it down big time. So all the center coring is actually done with Kusa and epoxy on this entire bulkhead. Holy crap. I'll tell you one thing, that Kusa and epoxy, man, I can't even get pieces to separate. Holy crap, guys. Finally, the Kusa sheared. You see the fiberglass reinforcing it. Here you guys go. There's a core sample. My God, is that stuff tough. Fortunately, because the one downside from switching to the other side, I knew it was going to happen. You don't get a very perfect cut. You can actually see the little bit of a lip there. Oh yeah, there you go. And there's the piece that's separated. One hell of a tough bulkhead right there. All right, that's one done. For those of you asking, why the hell did you just drill a 4-inch hole through your bulkhead? Well, that was factory on both sides, and that's where this big bunch of wires go through. To be quite honest, I could probably have drilled a smaller hole, but that's what was there from factory, and I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. Try to get some nice covers, glass it all in, try to get some nice covers to cover it, and we'll go from there. The only reason I say that is because a lot of these wires, with today's technology 30 years later, a lot of those wires are going to get eliminated. Those are all for analog gauges and stuff like that, and now doing a digital setup, all of those tiny little wires, for the most part, is all done with just one little NEMA cable. But that's going to be a heck of a project on its own, dealing with all of this. Hopefully, I think I remember where everything goes. Time to do that one, and then after that, get to sanding. Good morning. It's currently Sunday morning, and I got a ton of sanding done. I got all the floor cleaned up, both sides of the stringers completely faired and sanded. Still some touch-up spots to do. Unfortunately, Oh no, that's actually not bad. That's a little rub mark from my shoe or something. But there is a couple spots that are still a little bit low, where honestly I don't even know if I'm going to bother. We'll see. If I mix up some more fairing compound and I get a chance to do it, I'll do it. This was a big low spot, so got that filled up. I uncovered my drain, which I'm actually going to fiberglass back solid, because when the bulkhead was here, this was the lowest spot. But now I'm going to have to drill a new hole up here, and then I'm going to actually glass this back over. Some interesting things I did find yesterday when sanding. It's crazy. Me personally, when I'm fiberglassing, you're trying to get almost every single little air pocket, air void, everything out. And even some of the smallest little air voids that I end up having, I'll sand out, add some more resin, inject some resin into it to get rid of that air void. And then you start digging into factory stuff and you're like, wow, why did I even bother? When you dig into some of the factory stuff, because some people at the factory, it's kind of slap that stuff on and get it out the door. I'm going to show you another example. When cleaning up this floor, getting it ready and trying to get it smooth, look at some of the things I ran into. That was a giant air pocket, which you can see right here, still isn't dug out all the way. That was a good solid, at least I would say 3 layers deep of an air pocket that I could see underneath, and I just started grinding down. And then you find a couple more, like that one's not too bad, a little spot there. But some things, like this whole spot right here, I don't know what was going on. Pretty big spot here. You can actually still see the shine in that one, right down there. But again, that's the size of my finger. This one, about 2 fingers. So you kind of get the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this massive one, which I actually still have to do some more grinding. Another little one right here. Didn't even grind it out yet. And that's actually, there's another part of it. So stuff like that you find, which it's not just this boat. This is a pretty high-end boat built by Viking. We all know a Viking is built pretty solid for the most part. And I've worked on some cheap boats, or I wouldn't say cheap boats, just different quality of boats, different brands of boats. And I've found things like that before, and there's issues like that are going to be in almost everything. It's wild when I'm sitting here trying to do everything so perfect, and then you find things like that that has been there for 30 years, hasn't been an issue. But just trying to have the best quality glasswork I can. So this is what's going on today. I just started cutting each layer of fiberglass, getting them all notched and cut. I got my prop shaft covered and everything so resin doesn't leak down, because under here is actually cleaned up and sanded very nicely. Just stuck this piece on. So under here is where my sea strainers go. This is going to get glassed in. You can see I have the corners cut, the one behind that one too, and then you just kind of notch them so this way they line up well. Doing 2 layers of 1708 and then 1 layer of this pretty thick, I forget what ounce it is, but it is a pretty thick layer of matte on top, and that's kind of the one that we'll use to sand smooth. Plan on doing the same thing over here as I did here, where I'm just going to use all unwaxed resin and then hit it with a layer of gel coat, just to help fill in any of the voids and make this look real good. And I'm sure, just like that corner, this one's going to be a bit tricky again. Trying to make a round corner like that and get all the way under is a challenge. I did get everything under here sanded and prepped, because I do have to tab this in too, because currently there's not much holding this to the stringer. Besides, there's a couple stainless screws that I went through, and then just a lot of thickened resin, pretty much gluing it in place as of right now. I'm sure that corner is going to be a little bit of a challenge. That's where this stuff comes in handy for your last layer, for anyone doing this. This is going to give you a lot of that strength, but it does not round a corner, and you can't force it to do weird shapes, where this stuff, once it gets saturated, you can make a ball out of it. If you guys seen the last video, I was having a real hard time that's what happened. Is I was just using 1708 over here, and I was having a real hard time where I actually ended up grinding this all down and redoing this corner. Actually, I did it on this side too. This one turned out a bit better, but this one I had a tough time because I was trying to round a corner here, round a corner here, have a rounded corner there. Just too many corners going on, and it just ended up looking like crap. Some big air voids in it. I sanded it all down, grinded it all out, and added more. This will be a big milestone once I get this part done. Just dry fitting this in place, kind of show you. But one thing that sucks about working with this, with just the mat, is it falls apart so easy. You end up with glass fibers just everywhere. And I just tried to, you know, put that in place there. What I'm trying to do is find where it lays up evenly all the way around, and as you can see right now, that's actually a little high. So while you guys are riding along on the GoPro, I'm gonna pull you back here. Gotta cut out the corner, kind of try to find where it is, and for the most part I just kind of eyeball it. And then that will make that corner quite nice. Got to do this corner too. And then I still have to cut out for this area. I got one more piece to put on here and cut out. Then I actually got more peel ply in, because I know a lot of you guys in the comments when I did this section was like, oh, you should use peel ply or try peel ply. Well, I'm assuming some of you guys didn't see the previous videos when I did both these bigger flat spots. And yes, I use peel ply. It works amazing. I just didn't have any, unfortunately, so I just went with it. So I do have more peel ply. I'm gonna cut out a piece to be that shape. Got all the prep work done and ready to start mixing up some resin. And convinced Matt to give me a hand. It's not easy some days, but some days he shows up. Here. Got one layer that's prepped and ready. We're just gonna kind of peel it back, pour resin underneath, and kind of fold it back. So we're not trying to fight with it, moving it around. I got everything kind of staged, prepped, ready to go. So this is my mixing station. I got the bubble busters down here cleaned and ready. I'm gonna have 2 pails of resin poured and ready. So this way, once I start mixing the other one, I can just add the catalyst in and start mixing it. Because it is starting to get warm, which has been a little bit more difficult lately. Some extra rollers ready to go, and pail of resin. So I'm going to be turning on the exhaust fans, and I think I'm just going to set you guys up on a time lapse so you can see the process. Hopefully from what you guys seen in the time lapse, we got it done. Couple problems we were having, like usual. It was some of the corners did not want to stick underneath, but we finally got them. Got the peel ply down. It 100% went on the wrong way, but it was already too late. Once you get that peel ply that touches the chop strand, there's no pulling it back up to redo it. So we've just rolled with it. So the back little corner doesn't have peel ply, about 8 inches along the back there. But pretty happy with how that went overall. And very sticky feet right now. And this is just kind of eyeballing it and guesstimating how much resin to use, and that's about what we have left over. A little bit in that and just a Just a smidgen left in there, maybe 100 mil. So overall pretty good. I believe we went through approximately 10 liters of resin to be able to accomplish this. All right, we're gonna get out of here for a couple minutes, let this kick, and then we'll come back when we're peeling the peel ply off. So you guys seen what we did? Got her done, got the peel ply on, and it's been about an hour-ish, and looking pretty good. Still a little tack to it, but good enough to get on with the next part. So I'm gonna try to peel off this peel ply and show you guys why the peel ply is awesome. Let's see if I can start getting some of it going to make sure she was good to go. Looks pretty decent. Kind of the difference for no peel ply, peel ply. Couple of little air spots, but nothing too bad. And that's where a nice thick layer of gel coat over this, which is going to have the wax in it, is what's going to fill any of the little divots and stuff like that. And then I can sand out the gel coat to be real smooth. Definitely some wrinkles and some not perfect areas, but thankfully that's where the generator goes. So a quick scuff before we put the gel coat. That's a little pocket of resin, but this is the area we really are worried about.
It's the only spot you're gonna see, right?
Yep, all of this gets covered with the generator, and that whole back corner is exhaust for the generator, battery, and pumps. So, to be honest, not a whole lot of this you even see ever. So guys, overall pretty happy with that. Definitely things could have been better. An extra set of hands to easily lay things out. Yeah, but considering the scenarios and knowing you have to sand certain spots and clean it up, she's pretty good. Corners turned out pretty nice. Because remember guys, this was rounded around, alright? So, there's some spots that will need to be sanded up, but overall pretty decent. So now we're actually quickly making a template for putting a couple extra layers of glass on this bulkhead. So like I said before, if I haven't, or I'm saying it now, this whole bulkhead, I want to add up some more layers. We did do a lot of grinding of things off, and to pretty it up, to make it look smooth, where everything was tabbed in, these layers will just kind of go right over top of that, just to add some extra strength. And these brackets are what the engine sits on. An I-beam gets welded to this, and they sit like this. So I really want to, where these are going, I want to reinforce those areas big time with a lot of extra glass in these areas, on front and back, and even on the brand new bulkhead. So these are gonna sit like this, and this sucker's already ridiculously solid. But what I'm still gonna do is I'm going to get, for this bulkhead, I'm gonna do 2 layers of 1708, and just pretty much nice squares. One a little bit bigger, one a little bit smaller, just to give that an extra layer and thickness for when we go to clamp this on. It's the next little glass step to do. We're gonna make this template quick, and we're gonna cut some glass and then get back here.